They were ordinary nights until the sky unfurled its secrets. September 1961, a rented sedan winding through New Hampshire's White Mountains, a bright, erratic light so close it chased them off the road. 2 hours vanished. When Betty and Barney Hill stumbled home, they carried only questions and a star map from another world. October 1973, at Riverbank in Mississippi, Calvin Parker and Charles Hickson cast lines into the darkness until three legless shapes drifted from a silent football-shaped craft. Midair, their hearts steadied by an unseen sedative. Minutes later, they stood trembling at the sheriff's door, haunted by the hush of that vessel. November 1975, Sitgreaves National Forest, Arizona, logger Travis Walton chased a metallic disc 40 feet wide through the pines. A blinding flash, and 5 days erased. He reappeared at dawn, scarred by memory and lifted, quite literally, from the earth. 3 encounters, 3 disappearances, 3 threads leading into the inexplicable. Tonight we step beyond doubt. We listen for the hissing of the unknown. We follow the cold light that beckons between fact and fear. Welcome to Shifting Veils. My name is Michelle.
And I am Isaiah, and this is where we talk about things we find just outside of Clearview. So if you like the unexplained, possibly paranormal, and always strange, stick around. Go ahead and like, follow, subscribe, and share our Spotify and YouTube channels to your spooky friends. Barney and Betty Hill, seeking a reprieve from life's demands, set out on an impromptu journey through New Hampshire's White Mountains in September 1961. Barney, fresh from a grueling night shift at the post office, and Betty, drained by her child welfare caseload, planned a makeshift honeymoon to restore their spirits. Pulling into a Vermont diner on their final evening, the couple finished coffee and pie before heading home. They left at 10 p.m., confident they'd return to Portsmouth by 2 a.m. The road stretched before them in a ribbon of shadow and silence. High above, Betty spotted an unusually bright object. At first dismissing it as a planet or satellite, but when it veered off course in erratic loops, she insisted it was no natural body. Barney scoffed until the light drifted toward them, its glow intensifying until they felt its presence pressing close. Barney brought the car to a stop, heart pounding, and stepped out with a handgun. He described what he saw next as a pancake-like disc, glowing with brilliant white light, roughly the size of a small jet. Figures moved behind its windowed rim, watching him as he stood frozen in disbelief. They bolted back into the car, desperate to escape. A sudden wave of drowsiness overwhelmed them, and the world slipped into oblivion. Dawn found them in their own driveway. Clothes rumpled, watches stopped, and 2 hours vanished from their memories. Unable to explain their missing time, the Hills sought help from psychiatrist Dr. Benjamin Simon in December 1963. Under hypnosis, both recounted identical episodes, being guided aboard an otherworldly vessel by small, gray-skinned beings with large, slanted eyes. They spoke of invasive examinations, hair, skin, and nail samples taken, and a 6-inch needle probing Betty's abdomen.
No,
And
thank you.
yeah, that sounds
That sounds
absolutely
horrible.
horrendous. Yeah. During a later session, Betty sketched a constellation she'd been shown aboard the craft. Her hand traced a pattern unfamiliar to Earth's sky charts. Years later, some argued it matched the Zeta Reticuli system, 39 light years away. Whether coincidence or proof, the precision of her drawing sent ripples through UFO research circles. This first modern abduction case cracked open a door to countless similar accounts. Missing time, eerie lights, grotesque entities, skeptics cite stress, suggestion, or hidden memories, while believers point to the Hills' lack of prior UFO fascination. Today, their story persists at the intersection of fact and fear, inviting each listener to decide which is stranger, the unexplained encounter or the truth behind it.
So I wanted to ask, what Betty said that she saw in the
Mm-hmm.
sky. like the light moving around and stuff. Not like whenever it got bright and was like there with them or anything, but like the light that was moving around in the sky, making loops and stuff. Have you ever seen anything like that?
I've seen a light moving around way back when I was younger, up in a night sky. Yeah, it was just kind of circling above the basketball court in our little community.
Um,
Nothing
I have,
super up close. It was just
yeah,
a light.
I've driven through like Las Vegas. I've driven through Utah and Nevada a lot, getting to Las Vegas a few times, and always at night. And I remember one of the times driving through Utah, seeing like it was just like a light. It was just a single light,
Hmm.
and it would go like so fast from like one side of the sky to the other side. But it wasn't just like in straight shots. It would do that from one side to the other, or straight up and straight down. It
Hmm.
would also loop and stuff. And I was always told, oh, it was probably just a satellite. And I get that, but I don't understand how a satellite could do, oh, excuse me, all of the maneuvers this thing was doing.
Right, a satellite wouldn't be able to do that.
I mean, shooting like straight projections, like from one
Hmm.
side to the other, or maybe even straight up and down. I get it, like light reflecting, but like the looping of things, that's just, yeah. So that was always, um,
I mean,
it's, I don't know.
when a satellite is up in the air, it just drifts. It doesn't maneuver or anything like that. So, I mean,
Yeah, right. So, what you're going to get basically is just like light reflecting off of it, or as it,
right.
turns slowly in orbit, it's going to change the trajectory of that light being bounced off of it, I guess. But yeah, it didn't make any sense to me.
Yeah, I was gonna
But
say, but if you're still seeing active movement, you're not. I mean, that's not gonna be reflected light.
yeah, that's true. So I don't know. It could have been anything, really. I mean, it could have been some type of governmental craft or
Weather balloon.
sure. Why not?
Yeah, no. When I was younger, me and my cousins used to play basketball at like 9 or 10 o'clock at night. It was just a basketball court that we had in the community, and we were always told that it was a plane, a small little like pond hopper
Okay.
that was like flying, but like this thing like did circles like above the basketball court that we'd play basketball on,
Yeah.
and it was like I don't think that's how it works.
It was checking you guys out.
There was one night, I don't mind being checked out, but not when they've got a 6-inch probe going
I
on your
was gonna
abdomen,
say, are you sure about that?
um, but no, there was a couple nights when the lights started getting closer, and that was when me and my cousins just kind of scattered because we all kind of lived on different streets, and so we all scattered
Yeah.
from the basketball court.
It was October 11th, 1973, when Calvin Parker and Charles Hickson set out for an evening of fishing on the bank of Mississippi's Pascagoula River. The night air was still, the river's surface smooth as glass under a crescent moon. They joked about the quiet, unaware that it stretched into an otherworldly hush. By late evening, a series of blue lights began to ripple across the water's mirror, drawing their eyes away from the bobbing fishing lines. At first, Parker thought law enforcement had arrived to shoo them off the riverbank, but nothing in their experience could have prepared them for what came next. A big light came out of the clouds, Parker would recall in later interviews. Its brilliance was blinding, making it impossible to discern edges or depth. Through the glare, he perceived a shape, elliptical, like a suspended football hovering silently overhead. The craft measured perhaps 80 feet across, yet it emitted only a soft hissing whisper rather than an engine's roar. As it edged closer, its glow bathed the trees in cold electric blue and left the fishermen feeling both transfixed and strangely exposed. From the belly of that suspended orb, three figures drifted downward. They were legless, their lower bodies tapering into smooth conical points. Each bore mitten-like claws where hands should have been. and their heads, set directly on their shoulders, supported large, expressionless eyes. I'm sorry. This description is comedic to me. It's funny to me.
I was actually imagining like an upside down Mr. Krabs from SpongeBob.
The mitten-like claws. Or
Yeah.
hand should have been. It's just that was just funny. I'm sorry. Parker described one as gray and slab. What is a slab neck? Parker described one as gray and slab necked. I don't know what that is.
Probably thick necked.
Okay, Parker is getting fancy with his words.
Slab is super fancy.
Another he described as subtly more feminine in form. I guess she didn't have a thick neck.
Nope.
Though no human feature marked their
That
faces.
thick cake though.
You don't know that. Remember, their bodies are like tapered into a conical point.
Yeah, so now I'm thinking like the faceless teacher from Powerpuff Girls.
Oh.
It's got them
And
hips for
something.
days.
When one extended a claw toward Parker's throat, he felt a sudden calm wash over him, as if the very air around him had been laced with an invisible sedative. That's terrifying.
Mm-hmm. It is.
Uh, I think they injected us with something to calm us, Parker later admitted. The numbness that followed was peculiar. Fear lingered at the edges of his mind, yet his body obeyed without question. Hickson, too, felt an odd buoyancy as though gravity had loosened its grip. They watched in muted horror as the creatures guided them aloft, stepping toward an open hatch that yawned in the craft's belly. Neither man could muster resistance. Each movement felt preordained by forces beyond understanding.
Do you ever
Once a
watch sorry, do you ever watch Fire in the Sky?
Yeah, I did.
That's like the scene that I'm thinking of. Like they say that they're like just kind of floating and being guided because they're in the, you know, as though gravity had loosened its grip
Hmm.
and everything. Like all I'm thinking is like when he's getting dragged through the tunnels of the craft and everything. And
Yeah.
oh my, that
We're
that
going to
was
talk about that too. We're going to talk about Travis
sorry.
Walton. No, no, it's okay. We are going to talk about that one too. I could not, absolutely could not write an episode that deals with extraterrestrials or being abducted without mentioning Travis's case.
Okay.
Because that movie, I think it horrified a lot of people. It's still, I still watch it and it horrifies me.
I mean,
And
for the '90s, it was really well done.
it was, I think, just the idea of it all is really terrifying.
Hmm.
Um, but once aboard, the fishermen found themselves in a chamber devoid of seats or restraints. A single cyclopean machine the size of a small car hung suspended above a smooth floor, its unblinking lens swept over their naked forms, emanating a clinical detachment. Hickson recalled floating weightless, his body examined by wire-thin instruments. He felt no pain, only the sterile press of metal against flesh. Samples of hair, skin, and nail were taken, each removal accompanied by the same faint hiss. When dawn's first light found them back on the riverbank, their watches had stopped and their clothes were miraculously unscathed. Panic overwhelmed them, and they raced to Jackson County Sheriff's Office to recount every detail. Captain Glenn Ryder and Sheriff Fred Diamond listened, incredulous. Ryder excused himself from the interrogation room, secretly leaving a recorder running. What emerged on that tape was far more unsettling than any written report. On the audio, Hickson's voice trembled. I thought I'd been through hell on Earth, but this, he gasped. They had us. They could have done anything. Parker's voice followed, choked with emotion. Nobody's going to believe this. Their fear was raw, unfiltered. Ryder later confessed that he'd expected fabrication, but instead heard two men utterly destroyed by what they had endured. No physical trace of the encounter remained. No scorch marks, no debris, no wounds. Investigators found only two terrified fishermen whose lives would never be the same. Hickson spoke freely for years while Parker remained silent until 2018. In his memoir, Parker Perker. We could do a whole blooper reel of me just
Did
laughing
you
and getting off on myself because
come from Montana, did you?
Perker,
And his memoir Perker.
Perker. In his memoir, Parker revealed that others had since come forward, reporting strange lights that night along the river's curve. It makes me feel pretty good I'm not the only one, he said. Most of these people are credible. Decades have passed, yet the Pascagoula River incident continues to defy explanation. Skeptics suggest hypnosis induced fantasy or mass hysteria. Okay, who hypnotized them? They're out there fishing and somebody hypnotized them?
It's it was the lights and it was the motion of the water. It was everything that was happening right there. I mean,
That hypnotized them.
you could hypnotize anybody with anything. I mean, it's just a repetitive motion. So as long as something is putting you in that moment.
Not me. I'm not. No,
You don't believe
I
in
don't think so.
hypnosis?
I don't. I don't think I would be sensitive to it. No.
Hmm.
Have
Okay.
you? Are you?
I don't know. I don't deal. I don't even. I just don't even just play with it. I don't deal with it.
No, we would have a guy come to the schools every year that would we'd have you know, thing in the auditorium where a panel of kids would go up there and get hypnotized, and I always thought it was fake shit. You could always tell when people were faking. I'm not saying it doesn't happen. I know people get hypnotized, but
Hmm.
it's just skeptics suggest hypnosis induced fantasy or mass hysteria. I don't
See,
know.
that's why I don't mess around with hypnosis because, like, whether trying to perform it or have it performed on me is because it leaves you in a very, very vulnerable state.
Mm-hmm.
I'm already pretty honest about the things I need to be honest about with people, the things I want to be open about. So having to be hypnotized isn't really something that, even when it comes down like smoking and stuff like that, it just, you're put in a very vulnerable state.
Mm-hmm.
And I feel like you can be taken advantage of, not just physically or anything like that, but
Smoking, drinking,
in it,
snorting.
it leaves your brain in a very open state, and I don't like that. We have defenses mentally for a reason.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Or what is it they give you in the hospital that it's on the street that people keep overdosing on? Um, I
That
can't think about it. I
I
can't
was gonna
figure.
say that
I don't
could be
remember.
almost any drug.
Yeah, it's true. You can get almost anything. Believers argue that the consistency of the two separate testimonies paired with the eerie recording demands deeper scrutiny. Whatever the truth, the riverbank remains haunted by that October night, a place where three legless beings once floated out of the darkness and vanished as silently as they'd arrived.
Mr. Krabs and the teacher from Powerpuff Girls.
Yeah,
They went
I probably would just really infuriate any extraterrestrial being that appeared that way because I would probably
laugh.
I would be giggling a bit.
You would laugh about their appendages.
Yep, I would be getting that 6-inch abdominal probe needle as punishment, probably.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that's yeah.
It's funny because they're talking about there being no pain or anything, but this one that you're fixing to talk about, the Travis Walton case, I don't know if, I mean, I think that movie was pretty, excuse me, true to his account, but
Hmm.
he endured quite a bit of pain.
Yeah.
And I think that's what was so terrifying because he was in such a vulnerable position physically.
Hmm.
And I mean, seems like I remember a scene where there's a needle in his eye,
Yeah.
like his eye is held open and
I mean, yeah, because he was like flattened out with the plastic over him and stuff like that, and it
yeah,
was just his eye and
it's
like
like a
that
film.
fluid. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Maybe they were just using different aesthetic. What do you call them? The ones that drug you when you're going under into surgery.
Anestheticians.
Yeah, maybe they just had the wrong one. Maybe they were drunk.
Maybe. They were mad at him for some reason.
Yeah, same reason why they'd be mad at you because they couldn't hypnotize you.
Maybe that's the difference. Maybe that was the
Maybe,
difference.
maybe you might be onto something there.
I mean, maybe he just wasn't vulnerable to hypnosis.
Yeah, not it couldn't go into a trance for that like
Hmm.
they wanted. Yeah, yeah.
So he had to feel all of that. I don't know.
That's like having to go in and feel your bones crack while they're fixing you.
Mm-mm. No thanks.
Whew.
Mm.
On the evening of November 5th, 1975, logger Travis Walton and his crew were driving home through Arizona's Sitgreaves National Forest after a day of felling trees. The air was crisp, the pines whispering under a waning moon. Walton, tired but alert, spotted something glinting between the trunks, an impossible sight that would change his life forever. At first glance, it resembled a metallic mushroom hovering silently above the clearing. Walton estimated its diameter at 40 feet, its surface glowing with an otherworldly sheen. As he approached, a low, pulsing hum filled the still air, making each hair on his arm stand on end. His crewmates shouted warnings, but curiosity and fear propelled Walton into the forest's shadowy heart.
When Walton was within 10 feet, the disc emitted a burst of white light so intense he staggered backward. The humming escalated into a high pitched shriek. His coworkers saw him thrown to the ground as if caught in a jet blast. Then, just as suddenly as it had appeared, the craft vanished, leaving only the echo of its hiss and Walton gone without a trace. For 5 agonizing days, authorities treated Walton's disappearance as potential foul play. His 6 colleagues became suspects, enduring endless interrogations and polygraph tests. Each insisted they'd witnessed the craft in Walton's abduction, and all but one emerged with clean results, though one inconclusive test only deepened the mystery.
Walton later described waking on a narrow table in a white chamber, his body sore and bewildered. Pale figures hovered over him, short, thin limbed beings with oversized eyes. He felt cold metal instruments probing his skin, drawing samples of hair and tissue. Pain flared in his chest, but his shouts went unanswered over the soft hum enveloping the room. Amid the haze of fear and pain, Walton's survival instinct ignited. He lashed out, striking one of the beings across the face. The creature recoiled, and its companions hesitated. And in that moment, as adrenaline surged through his veins, Walton stumbled free. The world spun, and he tumbled through a shaft of light back onto the forest floor. At dawn on November 10th, Walton collapsed at the edge of the logging camp, gaunt and disorientated. His clothes were intact, his watch stopped at the moment he vanished, and word spread like wildfire. The missing man had returned, barely able to speak of his ordeal. Medical exams revealed elevated adrenaline levels, but no physical evidence of injury.
Decades later, researchers revisited the landing site and found the surrounding trees exhibiting accelerated growth, wood fibers developing 36 times faster than normal. Some saw this as proof of the craft's lingering energy. Others called it an optical illusion born of wishful thinking. The debate rages on, but the pines stand quietly, guardians of a secret no one can fully explain. That sounds so stupid. An optical illusion?
Born of wishful thinking.
Uh-huh. Travis Walton's story became Fire in the Sky, a cautionary tale woven into UFO lore. It joined the hills, the Pascagoula fishermen, and countless others etched into our collective unease. That is, yeah, Fire in the Sky is. I think that's like the first. I think that is the first alien movie outside of Alien that I
Right.
that I watched. And Alien was scary to me as a kid for different reasons.
Yeah, there was a different type of horror.
Yeah. But
Yeah.
Fire in the Sky, I remember my mom was like, "This is a true story," and I was like, "This is horrifying."
Right.
This is a horror flick. This can't be true. I mean,
I
it was
think
just mm-mm.
those became, I think at some point around that same time was when those scary movies or thriller movies were the ones that I enjoyed more. When they start out with based on true events or based
Mhm.
on a true story or based on real life events or something like that. When they started out like that, you actually pull me in.
Yeah. And I think back then, before like the explosion of internet, you took it at face value. This is based on true events, or this is a true story, or whatever. And you
Oh,
just kind
yeah.
of you left out the based on or inspired by, and we're like, oh, this is true. Like as a whole,
Mm,
this is all
yep.
true. And but now you can go, okay, based on real events. Now you can punch in some letters into Google and be like, what part of this movie is actually like true events? What actually did happen?
Yeah.
I'm glad that we're able to educate ourselves like that. But still, it does make these stories, I don't know, it adds something to them. It's kind of, I think we've had the conversation before whenever, um, you have two people side by side and they both can say the same thing. But if one of them is a world renowned author or a doctor or an actor
Hmm.
or an astronaut, people tend to gravitate towards and listen to that person that's world renowned or famous or whatever. For some reason,
Yeah.
there's more weight to their words, even though they're the same as the person on the left side. So, whenever you say based on or inspired by, it's like it adds more weight.
Yeah.
Now it's scary for a different reason because this could be reality. It could
Right.
happen to you,
Yep.
So yeah. um they returned one by one, Barney and Betty, with the star map pressed into memory, Calvin and Charles trembling at the sheriff's door, Travis stumbling from the pines at dawn. Each carried a fragment of a story that refuses to stay buried. No footprints marked their passages, no wreckage remained. Only the echo of a hiss, the flash of impossible light, and 2 stolen hours, or 5 stolen days. Skeptics demand proof. Believers clutch their certainty, yet no one can say for sure what really slipped between those moments. Tonight, we walked alongside memory and doubt. We listened to voices broken by fear and awe, and as you step back into your own world, look to the sky, because out there, beyond the reach of reason, something stirs.